Hey, what's going on, guys? It's John Shea from the No Shame Income blog, and today I wanted to talk about my experiences with hiring a mentor. And this is something I thought would be good to talk about, because a lot of people out there might be skeptical of this. I'll give you some of my background and some of my experiences with this. So when I first got started in internet marketing, I was actually involved with a multi-level marketing style affiliate network called the Empower Network. And essentially what this group was a lot of people that were very I guess you could say it was a lot of people just looking to get ahead. They weren't really people necessarily looking to help other people. There were just a lot of people trying to get signups, trying to make money. A lot of people trying to recruit people into the same program. And, that kind of came with the territory of a lot of people that are going to be kind of, scumbags, really. People that just aren't going to be the best marketers. They do things in an unethical way. There happened to be someone that I saw posting a lot on Facebook, ended up following them. Seemed like they were having a lot of success, not only with Empower Network, but with other networks as well, making money. I ended up actually buying a training course from this person. I believe it was about $100. The course was actually really good. Started talking to the guy more on Facebook, and, of course, he was really friendly on the outside. Things went really well, and I'd kind of built some trust with the guy over time, just being able to watch his courses, see what he was doing on Facebook. He was always extremely positive, and those were things that seemed to work really well for him. Obviously it was working. So he eventually opened up this, training program where, you could come in $500. He would do one-on-one coaching with you. So of course, by this time I had already built some value with the guy. I kind of trusted him just from watching his material, seeing how he was, his persona. I really wanted to succeed. So, of course, I dropped the money on it, and our coaching session literally consisted of us doing a screen share together while he signed me up for all these different MLM-style programs. There was one in particular called Zip Not a Zilch. I don't even know if they exist any longer. I'm sure they do. But essentially what you had to do is if you sign up other people for these trials or offers, they would, you'd earn a commission, so you get someone to sign up for dental tooth cleaning. You get them to sign up for a trial. They don't even have to buy anything. They just sign up for a trial and you earn $20. So he had me sign up for all these trials. I had teeth whitening coming to my house and all kinds of random stuff. I think I even had kids' books coming to my house. All kinds of random garbage trial stuff. And these companies were completely, once they got you, they would trap you in. They would bill you after 2 days. I didn't even realize this was happening. They sent tons of spam mail. I got God knows how many telemarketer calls for the next month. It was a complete nightmare. And this guy didn't even get on the phone with me. The guy I paid for the coaching, he didn't even get on the phone with me. He just made me sign up for all these different programs, put me in a Facebook group with 3 or 4 other people. And I could tell, two of the 4 others, they were really gullible. They would just, listen to this guy. They would do anything. So anyway, I ended up basically doing a chargeback on my card. I had to call all these companies. I had to call my credit card company, get all these fees from the trials that I had signed up for reversed. So it was a complete nightmare. So my first real experience with hiring a mentor on the internet just went completely awful. Really backfired on me, and it really left a sour taste in my mouth for years. I really didn't have a whole lot of faith in, just paying someone, a stranger on the internet that I really don't know all that well, to do this. But, I'd heard many times that, it'd be really good to hire a mentor. It'd be really good to find someone that can kind of guide you in a path. Someone that's having a lot of success, they can help you have that success too. So what I eventually ended up doing is, because I've been so involved in the SEO industry, doing local SEO, organic SEO, doing things like private blog networks. A lot of this I may have videos on by now if you're watching this. I do have several SEO videos, and I'll probably be doing more. But basically what it came down to was there was someone I had been kind of following on and off, again, for a very long period of time, a lot longer than the original person I had hired. And basically realized that, that they wrote this blog post about how they were traveling the world and they were managing all their SEO clients and still making, well over 6 figures, which to me is perfectly reasonable. That's something that I would love to achieve. And for me at the time, I'm still doing this currently, is working at a digital marketing agency, basically working for somebody else, and realizing that maybe I could be doing some of this on my own, and really just kind of expanding my own business or doing my own thing, making a lot more money that way. So I decided to hire someone by the name of Leo Rohan. He runs a blog called Scope Rush, and basically what he does is he is a salesman. He is really, really good at closing SEO deals, really, really good at simply just taking a prospect and turning them into a sale, and then essentially he outsources all of the work. So this really intrigued me, it was something that really interested me. So I ended up hiring him for $2,500. I've actually done about 6 of the 8 sessions that, I paid for. And I can tell you, even just that first session alone, just really thinking about what he said in that very first session, it was all about mindset. That was something that really changed the game for me. I think the biggest thing for me is that I've always had this mindset of sort of a cheap mentality. If I go into trying to find a client for SEO, I would kind of go into it like I'm perfectly reasonable taking on someone for $250 or $300 a month, or doing a website design for like $300, when it's really something I should be charging like $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 for. So what it came down to is that the biggest shift I had, from hiring Leor was that it was a mental change. A lot of what he told me I already knew. It wasn't really anything super mind-blowing. There were some things on the sales side that really helped me fully understand, what he was doing. But a lot of it I already knew. And some of it I just wasn't taking action on. We went through using things like how to set up Upwork, which I'm actually going to do my own course on. And that's something that I already knew how to do it. I just really wasn't putting it into action. And now that I've actually started putting it into action, I've started making really good money. Now, I guess to sum this all up, of course I was very, I was very nervous, like going in on something like this. That's a lot of money. That's like you could pay for a college course with that. I could buy a brand new TV or whatever I want. I could have my driveway paved for that amount of money. Things like that I could have done around the house. And I guess the biggest takeaway from this was I actually legitimately landed from the coaching that he gave me. I landed a client for $2,500 a month, which I brought in through the agency I work with, which in return gave me a huge bonus, a raise for over $6,000. And, overall now I have this client that, confides in me, and I realize that I have the ability to do that. I have the ability to go and close a client for $2,500 a month. So that's really the biggest takeaway. I would say that if you're thinking about coaching, just make sure that this is someone you really trust. I would talk to other people that have been coached by that person beforehand. Make sure that, they're not going to scam you or really screw you out of anything. Make sure that, it's something that you really want to be doing, and that this investment is going to be something that you're going to be using for a long time ahead. Don't invest in something like, there was actually another person I paid $600 for some coaching on how to do Android apps and profit with them. And the coaching was actually really good, but I just found myself not very interested in what it is that I was going to be doing. So I kind of just dropped it over time. I couldn't really stick with it. So what really happened with me was, you make this investment, and then, the person teaches you something that's actually really valuable. But then I found that, what it is that I would be doing long term, I was just completely unmotivated by. It wasn't something that excited me, wasn't something that I saw myself doing long term, and just decided to kind of drop it. So that's something to consider. So in my case, I've spent well over $3,000 on hiring people as mentors. Again, there's been 3 of them, and the biggest one I got the most value of was, of course, the one I spent the most money with. And I could say the biggest takeaway is that when I originally had spoke with Leor, I would bring up things to him over Facebook chat, and I would say that, he kind of looked at me like more of like, I'm just some guy and I'm here throwing him stuff, and he really didn't take me very seriously. He didn't really know me. And that's something that I think a lot of people do, especially in the internet marketing industry. If I just hit up some random stranger who just happens to be someone who's very successful online, a lot of people will look at that like, you get taken back, like, is this person really any good at what they do? Like, are they, these ideas that they have or things that they bring up, like, how good are they? How valid are they in terms of, what they do in terms of internet marketing? I have people approach me all the time and say, hey, I want to do this course with you, or I want to do this, or I want to partner. And, I'm just kind of turned off by that. It really depends on how they approach the situation. So, I guess the biggest thing I was trying to get at with this was that now that I've hired Lior for coaching, I can kind of hit him up on Facebook, and he knows me very well. It's like we become friends and people that we can bounce ideas off of. I could talk to him about what I'm working on, ask for suggestions on things that I'm doing when it comes to SEO, and that's a really huge benefit. That that's one of the biggest takeaways. Being able to have someone that is higher up in this industry, you could connect with other people that are also in this industry and just have a little bit more of a wiggle room to get in there and make some really solid connections with people, which is very important when it comes to just kind of getting up there and having success online. So these are some of my overall thoughts. I know this video is a little long. Hopefully you've enjoyed it up to this point. I guess I'll cut it here. If you like this video, if you're looking for more content like this, feel free to subscribe and like this video. I'll be doing a lot more content like this, and I'm excited to be sharing some of these tips with my YouTube fans. Thanks for watching.